Hey everyone, my name is Tegan and welcome back to this channel. This is going to be a different video to what I normally do. Before I've tried just documenting the process of one shoot, but now I think I'm going to be documenting the process of this entire project. This is the PHO 214, I believe, project for university, and I'm basically documenting this in video form because I have fibromyalgia and my hands are in too much pain to write this down right now, so I'm going to monologue it and write it down later. So my initial ideas for this project were pretty much non-existent, because for my last project one of my tutors told me that he was, and this is a quote when I say this, that he was sick of seeing self-portraits from me and he wanted to see something completely different, which hurt my feelings a lot, as I had been doing photography for 3 years GCSE, 2 years A-level, 1 year uni at the time he said this. So I spent those 6 years basically doing all my experimentation back then, and I felt like I really found myself and my style and what I wanted to do. Which I understand the whole point of these projects is experimentation, but I felt a little hurt by that because I spent so long finding what I loved and then getting told that he was sick of it and didn't want to see it again. So then I was lost of what do I want to do for this project. And recently I've had more of a fascination with photo archives. I've been collecting like vintage used postcards, so there's all the writing on the back, and like 50s film slides. And I've also been going back into old diaries, specifically my own from when I was a child, just because these things interest me and fascinate me. And then I wrote an essay about how family photography has changed over the years. So from the 1830s daguerreotypes down to like when people, like post-mortem photography in the Victorian era, and to now how people have stopped really using photo studios for family photography and everything is more candids and phone photos. So doing that project made me realise that I wanted to look more into not necessarily family photography, but I wanted to go into family idea and the archives that I've been collecting, and also a sense of identity. So I was thinking away, how do I tie in this family idea, this archive idea, this identity idea, and still make it unique to my style and something that I recognise myself when I see this work. So that's what we're going to be finding out over these weeks, these months. We have until May to do this project. This video will be up by May. So this is going to be a few months of work condensed. The idea is working out how to blend all those things. But I recently had a tutorial with a different tutor who I love dearly. We had her for a few lectures last year, then she left on maternity leave, and I missed her so much. She's got a very calming, soothing presence that I love. And I was asking her, like, how do I do something new but still hold on to my identity, especially as a lot of my past work, specifically my growing pains project, I'll put a little photo here, that was about my identity and loss of identity, specifically when I moved to uni. So I was like, what do I do? I was looking for someone to tell me what to do. And then she mentioned about how a lot of artists don't really tend to take self-portraits, they tend to just use their body as a canvas for portraits, like it doesn't matter who is in the image. And I was thinking about that, because it turned out a lot of my work isn't really about my identity, it's about these concepts that I'm putting onto myself because I have nobody else. And then I realised that this is going to end up being another self-portrait project. And also, now that I have a fibromyalgia diagnosis, I can feel good, well, not feel good about being in pain, but I feel like I have an actual diagnosed reason for being in pain. So I feel less guilty asking for help and less guilty having to take days off from doing work and for making videos instead of writing. So yeah, that's going to be a big challenge with this work. But I think my starting point is seeing what I can do with my physical archives, with the postcards and the film slides. And then we're going to see where it goes from there. So that update will be coming to you soon. So, I've started putting together my first images for this project, and I don't like them, but we're going to talk about them anyway and what I've learned. So what I did was, I have these postcards, these like very old used postcards that I got off Etsy, because I get all my things off Etsy. But I used ones more like these, and I took the text off them, I put it into Photoshop, removed the background, made it a transparent PNG. Okay, yeah, you can see that. I put the text and the postcards onto some of these images that I scanned in, just because I've seen a lot of images like that on Pinterest. I don't have specific sources or artists for this, but I've seen it and I've liked it when other people did it, and I thought, yeah, this could be a good starting point for this project, as it is a combination of personal family photography and these personal family postcards, and I thought, yeah, that'll work well together. But I just don't like it when I do it. I think it is just because, well, first of all, I don't have the resources, the technology to, let's show you this one, to like scan in these images and make them good quality. And also, I tried matching up like these postcards, not with the pictures on the back, but with other pictures, so there's a disconnect between it. And it just didn't work or look good. And also, it looked nothing like my work. And I've spent 6 years developing my style, and I saw none of myself in these images. So what I learned from this is that simplicity is just not for me. I like to make things as hard on myself as possible, and so much of my photography and the enjoyment in my practice is the photoshopping and the post-production and mashing images together and seeing how many layers I can possibly put into one Photoshop file. So that's what I learned from this. But yeah, this one wasn't for me. We're going to try something else. So another day, another failure. Well, not a failure, another learning experience. So what did I do? What did I do today? So, oh yes, this is my childhood diary. It's not really a full childhood diary. It's specifically about a holiday I went on in my lovely child writing. And it's got some drawings in there, and I've been thinking about this and doing something with this for, I mean, I come back to it every few months for the past few years. And like, this is a thing I've held on to for some reason. Why am I holding on to it? I took photos of the pages, put them into Photoshop, removed the backgrounds, made it all look nice, very like a proper good transparent PNG. And I was going to put these onto childhood photos from these days. However, I think these holiday photos have fallen victim to our lovely digital age blackout, where I won't go into detail because I wrote an essay about it, but basically, as all photography is becoming digital and stored online, it's very easy to lose track of it, and there's these like big black holes of just like lost memories, information, all those things. So yeah, I can't find any of those photos, so I went onto Google Maps, I put in the location, and I took a screenshot. Then I put this very white faded filter over them, because I wanted to have some kind of symbolism of this is a memory that's very faded and lost to me. As expected, as I did for the last shoot, it's a similar concept, but I still don't like it, no matter how I do this concept. Again, it's because I see nothing of myself or my style or my work in those images. And then I went back to they're right here, these postcards again. But yeah, I took these postcards. This time, instead of just using the text, I used the image as well. So it was the postcard image, I put a coloured background that was taken from the image, and then I put the text on top, which is just a different way of displaying these postcards, and again, did not like. But today I'm going to do a shoot that I hope, like fingers crossed, I will like. I'm doing another self-portrait thing. I know I should be straying away from what I'm comfortable with, but I feel like at this point in the project, it is needed. So I'm losing my mind a little bit, but first up, I have made some images that I like. I went through all these slides. Here's a good example. I need something white there. A lot of these photos are holiday photos, beach photos. I was very excited to see that, even though it's been, what, 40, 50 years since these photos, that people still go on holiday and just take photos of the beach, of the sea and the horizon and all that. So I took these photos, and I got it up here. I was going to start, kind of like collaging all these photos. I got them printed, I got multiple copies printed so I can do multiple options. But this was just a first example. And I put song lyrics from Taylor Swift's Marjorie, because it's a song about her grandmother. I want to incorporate that family element and put this lyric about swimming, I think in the sea, could be a lake, onto this image. So I made a couple of those and I love them a lot. I also went into self-portraits. I took a lot of photos of myself. I made myself into like a tree, kind of like a family tree, and I thought that was really cool. It's still not finished because it's going to take a lot of curved layers to get the lighting perfected, and also I hate editing green but that's something I'm very excited about, and these are the two images that I love. However, I had a peer review with some of my cohort a few days ago now, and they all love the images that I don't like, you know, the ones with the postcards. And I was talking to some of the lecturers about it, and they seem very fixated on the family holiday, specifically this holiday photography idea, rather than the archive, and that it just happened they were family holiday photos. So again, I'm feeling a bit lost, but I'm going to commit more to focusing on archive and identity rather than family beach holidays. Okay, I know I shouldn't wear stripes on camera, but I do not want to get changed. It's been an eventful week for my academic career, mostly because I got a bad grade on an essay, and I honestly wasn't expecting it. I thought it was a very good essay, and reading the feedback, I still don't understand why I got that grade. So I've had a lot of doubts and a lot of insecurity about my work this week, and as we are a few days away from the deadline for the project, this is not a good time for me to have doubts about my work, especially as I'm doing something so different to what I usually do. And I thought it was going to be creative and different and showing some diversity within my practice. And now I'm thinking, oh my god, I should have done something very safe. And I know I have an additional 2 weeks, an extended deadline because of my fibromyalgia. I get extended deadlines because of my suffering. But the symptom I've been suffering worse from recently is the brain fog and the lack of concentration. And that's something that no matter how much time I have will not go away. So I'm going to hand in on the actual deadline, as I know this extra 2 weeks is not going to help me in this circumstance. So what I've been doing, so I said last time I was doing these more like collagey things, and I thought, yes, let's do more of these. I'll do some more collages. So I took the leftover bits from these images, the bits that I cut off and didn't include, and I started making more collages out of the like wasted bits of paper from the other ones. And from this one I wanted to line up all the horizon lines, as the main thing of interest in all these images and all these holiday photos was that they were basically photos of the horizon. And then I took the scraps that are left over from that one to make this one slightly less cool, but it's this rock. I took some scraps, I made some rocks, and then I took the very final scraps, cut them up into little pieces and just made a little like mosaic-y thing, which is kind of cool. It's a bit more abstract. You don't really get the horizon beachy holiday family photo vibe, but I think that's nice because I didn't want this entire project to be about family photos. I wanted it to be about archives, which in my case just happened to be about family and holidays. So they're the images I've done this week, and these were honestly a struggle because my wrist pain was very bad, so cutting up a lot of things was suffering. But yeah, that's what I did. I also took a couple images of just the full, do I have one here? Yeah, of just the full slides, and scanned them and made them big and lined them all up based off the horizon line. Because I saw an artist called Dana Matson, I believe, who did something very similar. She took a lot of night photography, long exposures with using a phone torch to make like wave light patterns across the image. Then she lined them all up based off where the line started and ended. That's a bad description. So it was one big continuous line, but a lot of the images weren't lined up traditionally. So yeah, I was very inspired by how she lined up the images based off a line within the picture rather than the actual frame itself. So I did a couple of those. Do I have some in here? These are very hard to tell, but that's not a good example because there wasn't a huge amount of variation in the lines, because a lot of them, pretty much the composition of the image was the horizon right in the centre. So when you're trying to line up a lot of images based off the horizon line, there wasn't much like visible variation. And then I started thinking about how I was going to present this work. I was originally thinking exhibition, because before Christmas I was in a curatorial project where I had to make an exhibition. And I really enjoyed doing that. I spent a lot of time working on that and learning how to use SketchUp. Then I was thinking, if I did this exhibition, what would it actually be? Because I wanted it to be very relevant to my original idea of this, like, of an archive and family photo albums and things like that. And presenting this work so, I guess, big and publicly kind of took away the intimacy of what I wanted this concept to be. And I was thinking, yeah, what would this exhibition be? I was thinking I'll just take these big photos and again line it up at the horizon and make them massive. But I was thinking, you don't really get what the core idea of this project was if I went down that route. So, book. So this is what I think my work is going to be. I think it's going to be a book. I say I think, but the deadline's in a few days, so it will be a book. Because I wanted it to be very true to the photo album idea. This series is a combination of photo and mixed media works that draw from vintage postcards, old holiday slides and personal archives from the last 40 years that draw from nostalgia for youth and family photo albums. As a result, this work is autobiographical in nature and it depicts real life circumstances. I wanted it to be, as the images are so personal, but in a very common way. Everyone has these horizon photos. A lot of people have family photo albums. So it's a thing that's personal but also very relatable, and that's what I wanted to do with this book mostly. So we have the title, New Horizons. We have this image on the spine was basically a collage of me lining up all the horizons. And then I want to include a lot of handwritten elements for this more personal nature again. So here's my handwriting made into a font because I just have that. This is meant to be like a mini exhibition statement. I started writing one when I thought I was going to do a full exhibition. Then I changed my mind, so I kept it as like this little intro paragraph. Mostly because for this project we don't have to write a journal explaining our ideas, and I think without any context it might be very hard to show what I'm trying to say. So I'm also going to submit this video as like a video journal, just in case they want additional context. I know it's not needed, I know it's probably definitely not wanted, but I want to talk about this, and I feel like this additional context might help what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I wanted it to be very simple. I wanted the focus to be on the actual images, and we have these combinations of images I've kind of put together, and then just whole images and then extracts from my childhood holiday diary, because I wanted, again, handwritten elements. I wanted something personal in nature. I also wanted this like childlike writing to bring in this sense of youth and nostalgia again. And it also has, I'm not going to go through this entire thing, it also has these collages. So it is, in the end, this was very focused on the family beach holidays. But as a sense, this work at its core is archives, I hope. So yeah, now I need to make a video of me flicking through this book for my submission, but I think that's what this project is. It's a very long-winded journey of me trying to do something new, losing my sense of identity in my work, refinding something else, and then having a lot of self-doubts. So yeah, that's this video.